Emergency payments have been announced this week by the Morrison government in response to Victoria's fourth lockdown. Despite the help, many business owners are under extreme pressure, losing hundreds of thousands of dollars a week.
Luke Stepsys, owner of Panama Dining Room in Fitzroy in Melbourne, joins us now. Luke, I'll say good morning, but I know it's difficult at the moment for you and many others. I suppose part of the real frustration is just the shambolic nature of things that have happened from a state government perspective.
Oh, look, you are correct. It is anything but a good morning. I mean, it's like today. Today is no different to the previous 217 days that my main business has been closed. I'm heartbroken. I wake up this morning and I look around outside and the stark reality smacks me right in the face like the crisp air that is outside at the moment. Victoria is currently closed for business. Our city and our economy, they've been torn apart, and every business owner in Victoria is wondering today, why is it that when it comes to dealing with COVID, are Victoria the worst at it in Australia? The leadership in the state, with its blame and its lies and its cover-ups, this to me is the real disease in Victoria. And every time there are new cases, we're sent straight into lockdown. And New South Wales have proven that they are capable of being able to manage systems in an outbreak to stay open. The Victorian Government has no faith in their own people and they have no faith in their own systems. Our elected leaders are just not fit to run this state. Prior to COVID, I employed upwards of 100 staff. Since COVID, that number's dwindled to around 60 to 80 staff, depending on what restrictions we have in place. I've committed to paying most of my staff their full wages all throughout lockdown, just like I did the previous lockdown and the lockdown before and the lockdown before that. This money comes directly out of my pocket and I'm just a small mum and dad business owner. And yet at the moment, this fourth lockdown, it's hitting me at a tune of around $70,000 worth of losses a week. These losses, they're not sustainable.
Luke, it's just so hard to comprehend what you and everyone's going through in Victoria. As you said, you're a business owner, you've got up to 100 staff. I know that you have wedding venues as well. A lot of that has been disrupted. We did hear from the Morrison government this week about the temporary COVID plan. How much of a help is this, and is it going to everyone? Can you tell us in your sort of situation how that's going to help?
Yeah, look, I would have around 30 casual staff at the moment. So it's a huge help, and ironically, the state government gave business owners, a measly $7,000. For a business of my size, 2 weeks worth of losses would be $140,000. So that $7,000 won't really go far. But the Morrison government, paying my 30 casuals, that'll be around $12,000, per week. So instantly the federal government support is far greater than the state government support to keep businesses like mine open and keep Victorians in jobs. And to me, that really says a lot. So, to Scott Morrison, thank you for coming to the party. Some casuals might argue that perhaps the money is not enough, but, something is better than nothing. And, that's one less stress for me to have to worry about.
Luke, how insulting is some of the preaching that goes on from state government in Victoria? Look, I've seen, and we all have seen, and not for quite some time, obviously, because of circumstances, the manner in which Dan Andrews held his media conferences, and it was like a school teacher talking to kids. But the problem is, the QR codes are an absolute disgrace and have been. I've been in Melbourne when I can get there. I've got a brother and a sister and their families there. In New South Wales, you cannot go anywhere without going into the same central QR code. And for such a long time, there's just been a different one for every place you go to in Melbourne.
Oh, yes. But the government created the problem. Back in January, once New South Wales rolled out their centralised system, and a lot of us, business owners that I know would travel to New South Wales, and you could see the efficiencies that it created, and you could see where the problems would arise in Victoria through having, I guess, just, it was open slather. We all had our own systems that we were using. And you understand that, of course, if there's an outbreak, it would be very difficult for contact tracers to be able to align all of these different, QR code systems and extract data in, real time. And so, community leaders like Chris Lucas, for instance, Chris was beating his chest months ago, imploring the Victorian government to just listen to business owners, develop one system and just make it easy for us all. And then again, you look at the situation that they listed the wrong supermarket as an exposure site, and they've just lied their way out of it into lockdown, and they just continue with the rhetoric and the strong words and the exaggerations just to justify what is our fourth and will likely be our most crippling lockdown. And this will be a lockdown that will deliver a knockout blow to plenty of businesses.
A huge impact financially. What has the impact been like in terms of mental health for yourself, your family, your staff members?
Oh, it's been devastating. I say to the Victorian Government that the mental health impact, caused by their decision making is enormous. The financial toll is crippling. Unless they are capable of change, to do things in a way that does not destroy the lives or livelihoods of millions of Victorians, they need to step aside and let someone else run the state. I've been to hell and back, and I'm probably one of the fortunate ones because I had savings that I'll survive this. But you keep going back to that well, and that well is running out of water. And where does the money come from? We can't all work in construction or manufacturing or work for the government. There are so many industries that create and add to the fabric that is this wonderful state and the city of Melbourne. The arts, the theatres, the wonderful retail, the restaurants, the bars, the cafes, so much of it. The fitness industry, the health industry, that just destroyed, absolutely decimated, with no end in sight, because this default mechanism of every time that there are cases, we just shut down because we're not competent enough to trust in our own systems and trust our own people.
Yeah.
And I just think it's time for Victorians to just rise up and say enough's enough. And I've been saying, I implore any Victorian that's listening today, whether you are in work or out of work, whether you're a business owner that is like me that just wakes up and doesn't even know if they're going to have a future here, you need to reach out to the Premier's office, to the Treasurer's office, and you need to make it loud and clear that we no longer accept this policy of lockdown. There has to be another way. Otherwise, there is going to be nothing left of this great state.
Yeah, and it is one of the wonderful cities of the world, one of the wonderful states. I love it. It's like a second home to me personally. Our heart, and we say that as a collective from everyone outside of Melbourne, goes to you, Luke, and everyone. I think it's so important that people in Melbourne realise that the rest of the country is with you with this. And thank you so much for coming on our program this morning.
Look, thank you, because, I'm so appreciative of Sky, of making the time, I guess, to get, just your everyday person like me on, because I can't make a difference, but collectively, if we get together and we make enough noise, we can make a difference and we will force change, and we no longer accept these lockdowns as a measure. It has to change. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Luke. Take care.
Bye-bye.